Level 1. El Halcón. You are 13 years old. You are standing on a corner in Culiacan with a Nextel radio in your hand, and your job is simple. You watch. You report. You do not ask questions. A car you don't recognize comes down the street. You press the button. A police vehicle turns onto the block. You press the button. A stranger parks and sits. You press the button. Someone somewhere receives the signal, and that signal travels through a network of repeaters buried in the ground and hidden inside bushes along hundreds of miles of countryside. You are one node in a communication system more sophisticated than most government agencies. They pay you 4,000 pesos a week. You have never held that much money. You were not recruited in a back room. Someone posted on WhatsApp. Someone at school mentioned it. A cousin told a cousin. The pitch is not complicated. Money, food, protection, a sense of belonging in a place where the formal economy offers none of those things. In Sinaloa, 1 in 5 people finishes high school. The cartel is the 5th largest employer in the country. It outranks Pemex. It outranks PepsiCo. You didn't choose between crime and legitimate opportunity. You chose between crime and nothing. You don't know who owns the corner. You don't know who owns the radio. You don't know who receives the signal. You are a nerve ending in a body you cannot see. And the body does not need you to understand it, only to function. You are El Halcón, the hawk. You watch. You do not know yet that the cartel loses an estimated 350 members per week. You will. Level 2, El Burriero. You carry things now. Not in your hands, in your car, in your stomach if it comes to that. In a custom compartment welded into the chassis of a gas truck, sealed so precisely that when inspectors probe it, compressed gas escapes instead of cocaine. A detail engineers were paid to perfect. You don't know the engineers. You don't know what's in the package most of the time, and you don't ask, because the question itself is an answer about what kind of person you are, and that answer has consequences. The economics are clean. A kilogram of cocaine costs approximately $7,000 to move from Sinaloa to Los Angeles. On the street in Los Angeles, it sells for $20,000. The margin on a single kilo is $13,000. You are not seeing $13,000. You are seeing what a burriero sees: a fixed fee, a route, and a phone that only rings when something goes wrong. You cross borders by truck, by fishing vessel, by commercial plane, by routes that have been greased so thoroughly with bribery that the man checking your papers may be on the same payroll as the man who loaded your cargo. You don't know that either. You don't know the layers above you. The structure is deliberately designed so that you cannot. If you are caught alone. Level 3, El Soldado. You have a weapon now. You guard shipments, you collect debts, you enforce the word of people whose names you know, but whose faces you try to forget when police ask questions. You work in a cell, roughly 10 to 20 people, organized above you by a coordinator who answers for everything you do. When you make a mistake, he pays for it. That knowledge passes down to you like gravity. You were trained, somewhere between Zacatecas and Nayarit, in a facility that does not appear on any map, by instructors who were once military and found the cartel paid better. You learned how to use a weapon, how to move in a group, how to not exist on paper. You are not a criminal in the way movies describe criminals. You are an employee in a parallel economy, performing a function, following a hierarchy. The cartel does not distinguish between the man who guards the shipment and the man who fires the weapon. Same category. The life expectancy at this level is not something anyone calculates for you. You calculate it yourself, late at night, with no data and no good answer. Level 4, El Sicario. You receive a name, sometimes a photograph, sometimes a location. You do not receive a reason. The reason is not your department. Your department is execution, in every meaning of the word. This is where the mythology lives. The reality is more administrative. You are a specialist in problem resolution. The cartel has problems. You solve them. The fee is negotiated in advance, paid in full, assuming you come back. which is not guaranteed because the people on your list sometimes have their own Sicarios, and those Sicarios also received a name. There are no performance reviews, no HR department, only the next name on the list, and the understanding that a Sicario who hesitates becomes a liability, and liabilities get resolved by other Sicarios. You tell yourself you are protecting your family. You are probably not wrong. You are also not entirely right. Level 5, El Coordinador. 10 people report to you, maybe 20. Each of them is a problem waiting to happen. El Halcón, who talks too much at the wrong bar. El Soldado, who skims product. El Burriero, who panics at a checkpoint and makes a phone call he should not have made. You are responsible for all of them. Not in the way a manager is responsible, but in the way a hostage is responsible. When they fail, you answer for the failure. The answer is rarely verbal. You run a cell. You coordinate the movement of product, the management of informants, the payment of local authorities, the resolution of territorial disputes with adjacent cells. You are, functionally, a middle manager in a corporation that measures performance in kilograms and resolves personnel issues permanently. You have a phone that you change every 2 weeks. You have a safe house whose address changes with it. You have learned to read a room in seconds. Who is watching? Who is recording? Who is afraid? Who is dangerous? You have become very good at this. The people who are not good at it are not here to compare notes. Nobody above you explains anything. You receive instructions, you carry them out. The logic of those instructions is not your concern. Level 6, El Contador. You do not carry a weapon. You carry a laptop and a set of shell companies incorporated in 3 different countries, and you are significantly more dangerous than anyone at levels 1 through 5, because you move money, and money is what the entire structure actually runs on. The accounting function of the Sinaloa Cartel is not metaphorical. It is literal. Professional accountants, managing professional money flows, using professional instruments. Restaurants, construction companies, currency exchange houses, a juice company, a fish flour company. Businesses that exist, that have employees, that file taxes, that on paper look like nothing. Inside them flows the profit from an operation that generates enough cash that the problem is not making money. The problem is making money disappear into legitimacy. The scale is difficult to comprehend. A single cocaine shipment from Colombia, 30,000 kilograms, can produce net profit of nearly $400 million for the cartel's leadership, split among 5 investors. Your job is to make that money become a restaurant renovation in Mazatlan, a property acquisition in Guadalajara, a transfer through a currency exchange in Tijuana. Your job is the alchemy of turning blood into paperwork. The entire financial system helps you, sometimes knowingly. HSBC paid a $1.9 billion fine for laundering hundreds of millions in cartel money. The bank paid the fine. Nobody went to prison. You are not in the narco corridos. You do not appear in DEA press releases. You are the reason the cartel survives the arrest of everyone else. Level 7. El Jefe de Plaza. You govern a city. Not officially. Officially, you do not exist. But the restaurant owners in your plaza pay you monthly. Not weekly, not randomly, monthly. Like a utility bill. Because you have made the payment structure predictable and the alternative unpredictable. The local police know your name. Some of them are on your payroll. Others are not. But they understand the geography of power well enough to send petty crime victims to your halcones rather than investigate themselves. Because in a fishing village in Baja California, the cartel resolves theft disputes faster than the state and without paperwork. A plaza is a territory. There are 27 of them operating along the Mexican side of the US border. Each one is a choke point, a corridor through which drugs move north and weapons move south. You control that corridor. Every kilo that passes through pays a tax. Every business in the territory pays a quota. You are a tax authority with weapons. Nothing happens in your plaza without your knowledge, your direction, or your cut. That is not a boast. That is the operational definition of the position, used in official U.S. customs documents. Nothing happens without you. You have replaced the state in your territory. Not fought it, replaced it. Partially, selectively, strategically. The hotels pay you. The police consult you. The local politicians attend your events and do not look you in the eye, and you extend them the courtesy of not making them say anything out loud. You do this every day in a city whose name appears on no cartel document, administered by a man whose face appears on no photograph. Level 8. El Capo Regional. Multiple plazas answer to you. You do not manage product. You manage relationships with plaza bosses, with politicians, with military commanders, with rival cartel leadership when diplomacy is more efficient than war. You have code names for the officials you own. The Attorney General's regional delegate is Yankee. The federal police commander is Puma. These are not jokes. These are entries in an accounting ledger next to monthly figures, managed by a professional accountant who transfers the funds through instruments so layered that the distance between the bribe and the bank account is mathematically untraceable. You have meetings, logistics meetings, social meetings, and what your predecessor called peace meetings, without further explanation, because the people in the room understood. You appear in no photographs. You have not been indicted. You have been careful. More careful than the men above you, some of whom were careful for 30 years, and then made one decision they did not recover from. You know that the structure around you is stronger than any person in it. You have watched bosses rise and fall and watched the structure continue. That knowledge is clarifying. You are not the cartel. You are a function the cartel performs. The distinction is what keeps you sane. Level 9. El Padrino. You built this. Or you inherited it from someone who built it. Or you took it from someone who did. The origin story varies. The position does not. You are the reason this organization exists in 47 countries. You are the reason a kilogram of fentanyl that began as a precursor chemical shipped from China to a laboratory in Sinaloa ends up in a suburb in Ohio. You are the reason 350 people a week enter the positions you oversee, and 350 people a week leave them, most permanently. You live with security arrangements that would embarrass most heads of state. Multiple vehicles, multiple locations, multiple identities. A security apparatus that includes former military intelligence officers who sweep for surveillance more thoroughly than the agencies looking for you. The DEA has spent billions trying to find you. They have found some of you, eventually. The ones they found are in federal prison in Colorado, or dead in a ditch in Sinaloa, depending on who found them first. Joaquin Guzman grew up in Latuna with nothing, rose to run a billion-dollar operation spanning 30 years, escaped a maximum security prison in a laundry cart, built a tunnel under the US-Mexico border, and is currently in a supermax cell in Colorado, sentenced to life plus 30 years and ordered to pay $12.6 billion in forfeiture. Ismael Zambada ran the organization quietly for decades, avoided every indictment, and was arrested in 2024 after being lured onto a private plane. His sons and his rivals are currently fighting a war over what he left behind. The organization survived both of them. The organization always survives.